In this video, we'll take a closer look at article syndication, and we'll also share with you a powerful 5-step process that we call smart syndication. When people hear the terms article syndication or article marketing, they often shake their head, saying that they've tried that and it hasn't worked. Or they've heard about it, but it seems like too much hard work. There's even some who say that article marketing doesn't work anymore. You'll find many discussion threads that suggest that article syndication is not as effective as it once was, or simply doesn't work at all. As we showed in the last video, this is simply not the case. The professionals still use article syndication as the core of their link building strategy to gain extraordinary leverage for any keyword they choose. So why is there so much confusion about what works and what doesn't? It's because there's a right way and a wrong way to do article marketing. And if you do it the wrong way, you can do your site more harm than good. Unfortunately, many people try article marketing by buying a few poorly written articles from an outsourcer or a freelance writer. They then pump these articles out to a large number of websites in an attempt to quickly generate as many backlinks as possible. When this approach fails to boost their site in the search engines, they come to the conclusion that article marketing doesn't work. However, the real problems with this approach are the quality of their articles and the process they're using for content distribution. So let's now take a look at the right way to do article syndication by examining the 5-step process that we call smart syndication. The 5 steps of smart syndication are keyword research, article creation, content spinning, article submission, and tracking. Let's now look at each of these steps in more detail. With the massive increase in competition in the search engines, it's becoming more important than ever to pick your battles carefully. Which means that before you invest time, effort, and money on search engine optimization, you should check the strength of your competition for the top spot in Google. We recommend that when you're starting out, you take a look at the #1 site for the keyword you're targeting and analyze their backlink profile to find out what you're up against. Try and identify keywords where the #1 ranking website has a relatively low number of backlinks and a low page rank. For example, 3 or less. To do this, you'll probably need to focus on keyword phrases made up of 2, 3, or more keywords. Once you've learned how to get #1 rankings for low competition keywords, then you can target more competitive keywords, and you can leverage the authority that you've already developed to make these competitive keywords more accessible. One really important keyword research tip is that if your end goal is to rank for a keyword such as dog collar, then you should begin by targeting a long tail variation of that keyword, such as how to buy a dog collar. You'll rank much faster for the long tail phrase, but because the phrase dog collar is contained within the long tail phrase, you'll also be building authority for the short tail version. It's the best of both worlds. You get quick rankings for the long tail keywords, while setting yourself up to rank for the short tail too. This is a simple pro technique that can make a big difference. So just to sum up the first step of the smart syndication process, begin by targeting long tail phrases, and use a tool like Market Samurai to analyze the backlink profiles of your competition in order to select battles that you have a good chance of winning. For the purposes of article syndication, you can think of an article as having 3 different sections: a title, a body, and a resource box. Let's take a look at the title first. Many people make the mistake of putting their keywords in the title of the article that they are syndicating. Now let me just clarify. Putting your keywords in the title of articles that are on your own website is critical. It's one of the most important on-page ranking factors that you should utilize. However, the articles that you are syndicating are going to appear on other people's websites. Putting the keyword that you want to rank for in the title of your syndicated articles is therefore counterproductive. Each of the websites that your content will appear on will contain your keyword in their web page title, which creates direct competition for your website. If an article that you syndicate appears on a high authority website owned by somebody else, it might end up outranking your site using your own content. Clearly, that's not the best strategy. We recommend that you don't worry too much about the title of your syndication articles from a search engine perspective. Instead, write a great article that engages readers and sells the content to the site owners who will approve your article for publication on their websites or article directories. Basically, the more engaging your title is, the better your chances of being syndicated and the more backlinks you'll receive. Now let's talk about the body of your article. We recommend that you make your articles around 300 words long. There are two reasons for this. First, this word limit will force you to write your articles so that they will be punchy, get to the point immediately, and be more engaging. With attention spans decreasing every year, keeping an article short and sweet is very important. The second reason for keeping your articles brief is leverage. The minimum article length for most article syndication networks is 300 words. If you write a 600-word article, which is syndicated to 100 websites, then you'll generate around 150 links. For a little bit of extra work, you could have written two 300-word articles, and if the same 100 websites picked up both articles, then you would have received twice the number of links. So the maximum return on time and effort is achieved by creating short, concise articles. However, you must strive to make those 300 words count. It is really important that you write high-quality articles, not the low-quality jumble of words that a lot of people produce. There are two reasons why the quality of your article is so important. First, many article directories will manually review your articles when they are submitted. The higher the quality of the article, the better the chance that they'll be accepted. And second, many blog networks allow individual website owners to review articles before accepting them. So a little bit more effort in writing a good quality article can lead to a lot more and higher quality links. Now the third and most important part of an article is the resource box, which is sometimes called the bio box. The resource box is where you get to give a description of the author or the website that you wish to promote. It's also the place where you get to embed your links. And as we're doing article syndication to build links, the correct use of resource boxes is absolutely critical to your link building success. Most article directories let you embed 2 links in the resource box and optionally 1 link within the body of the article. Choosing where these links go and what the anchor text of these links are is absolutely essential, and one of the main reasons why many people's article marketing efforts fail. So here's how to do it right. The 2 links in your resource box are the most important. That's because almost all article directories support resource boxes, so you'll get the most number of links from this area. Of the 2 links in the resource box, link one of them to your homepage using the anchor text that you want your homepage to rank for, and then use the second resource box link to link to an individual blog post that is relevant to the syndicated article. Once again, using the keyword that you'd like your blog post to rank for as your link anchor text. And then finally, use the link in the main body of the article to point to a category page on your website. Once again, choose a keyword phrase that you'd like the category page to rank for when you select the anchor text for your link. If you follow this linking strategy for every article that you syndicate, then you'll automatically build an effective distribution of links to your homepage, category pages, and individual blog posts. Okay, so far we've covered the first 2 steps of the smart syndication process: keyword research and article creation. Now before we move on to the next step, we need to deal with a common search engine optimization myth: the duplicate content penalty. The myth suggests that if you publish some content that Google already knows about, then you'll be penalized and will struggle to rank that piece of content. As a result of this myth, people were wary of syndicating the same article to multiple websites on the internet because they believed that they would trigger some kind of penalty. The truth of the matter is this: Google does recognize and can detect when content is not unique. However, Google wants the best possible experience for its users. If you type in a keyword and the first 10 pages of Google are filled with exactly the same article, this does not result in a good user experience. So, If there are 1,000 copies of a document on the internet, Google will usually show only one of those 1,000 articles in the search results. The one copy that gets shown is based on the highest authority version of the article. It is usually the version of the article that has the greatest quantity and quality of backlinks. So while there's no such thing as a duplicate content penalty, there is such a thing as a duplicate content filter. What does this mean? It means that if you syndicate the same version of an article to thousands of websites, those syndicated articles will be forced to compete against each other to rank for whatever keywords Google believes are relevant to that article. This is not such a big problem for you, as you'll be getting links back from each of these articles. However, it's not good news for those sites who decide to publish your content, as they'll be competing directly with every other website who has syndicated the same version of your article. Due to Google's duplicate content filter, more and more article syndication networks are now requiring that you submit a unique article to each site that syndicates your content. So if your article was to be syndicated to 5,000 websites, the article networks are now requiring you to submit a unique version of your article to each of these 5,000 websites. Now hang on a minute. Does that mean that you have to write 5,000 different versions of your article? That sounds like a lot of hard work. Well, don't panic. The way to do this is using a technique called content spinning, which is the third step in the smart syndication process. Content spinning allows you to write an article once, but then have the ability to generate hundreds or even thousands of unique versions of that article with just a little bit of extra work. Here's how it works. Imagine you have the sentence, "The fat cat sat on the mat." Now let's say that you find synonyms for each of the main words in the sentence. Instead of the word fat, you could use the words large or obese. Instead of the word cat, you could also write feline or kitten. Instead of the word sat, you could substitute the words sat down or lay down. Instead of the word mat, you could substitute the words rug or carpet. What you get when you do this is the following. Each word is replaced by the different word phrase options in brackets, separated by a vertical bar character. This single sentence has 4 spin blocks, and each spin block has 3 different word variations. Therefore, if you were to randomly pick a word from each spin block, you can generate 81 different sentences that convey the same meaning. Here are 2 examples. The large kitten sat down on the carpet. The obese feline lay down on the rug. For a 300-word article, where every third word is spun in this way, you can generate 5 times 10 to the power of 47 different articles. In practice, this means that if you were to submit to 1,000 different websites, every site could get a completely unique version of your article. In the last few years, a few advanced intelligent spinning services have come on the market. Instead of using direct thesaurus replacements, these services use advanced semantic algorithms to make sure that as far as possible, every generated spin makes grammatical sense. They are very effective at generating high-quality spins, however, because they often rely on the results of expensive semantic research and complicated data models, they can be very expensive, often costing upwards of 80 cents or more to spin a single document. While these intelligent spinning services are useful, getting computers to understand language is difficult, and even the best services available today still make errors, which is why it is so important to do a manual review. So the end result of all this is that spinning, when used correctly, is an effective way to generate thousands of unique articles for submission to the article syndication networks. Just remember that no matter how you create your spins, you should always do a manual review of your article before submission to ensure that your articles are of the highest quality possible. We now come to the 4th step in the smart syndication process, which is article submission. When it comes to submitting your articles, there are 4 important tips that we uncovered by grilling the SEO pros. The first tip relates to checking article uniqueness. This is something that is particularly important when employing outsourcers to write your content. As you know, writing articles can be hard work, and many online business owners, in an effort to create more leverage, use outsourcers to write their content for them. They purchase articles, usually quite cheaply, from outsourcing websites or freelance article writers. While this sounds like a great idea, there is something that you need to be aware of. Unfortunately, there are many unscrupulous article writers out there who will simply rip off somebody else's article and pass it off as their own work, just to make a quick buck. These article thieves simply search article directories or Google for an article related to the keyword they're being paid to write content for, and illegally download someone else's work and give it to you, passing it off as their own work. There are two problems with this. First, and most important, is that it's highly illegal. Even if you unknowingly syndicate someone else's article without permission, then you are in direct breach of copyright legislation. If you get caught, you could be faced with costly lawsuits and be sued for breaching copyright. The second problem is that even if you don't get caught, if you try to syndicate non-unique content, then many publishers that are part of an article syndication network will reject your submission because, as we've seen, duplicate content gets filtered out of the search engines. The result is that your article will get rejected more often, will not get syndicated, and you won't get many links. You may even have your account suspended by the article syndication network. The solution to this is to make sure that every article you get written for you is unique. There are various services available to do this, such as Copyscape, which will find duplicate versions of your article online. So our first submission tip is that if you're using an outsourcing service or a freelance writer to create your content, make sure that you check the uniqueness of each article you receive, preferably before paying for the content. Another important aspect of submitting your articles that nobody really talks about in article marketing circles is selecting the right category to submit to. Selecting the correct category is absolutely critical to your article marketing success. Selecting a relevant category determines the number of sites that your content will get submitted to. If you pick a poor category, then this will cripple the number of links that you'll get with each submission. Selecting a category also determines the relevance of the sites that you submit to. Sites more relevant to your content will be much more likely to accept your article submissions. Also, the more targeted your content is to the sites receiving your content, the higher the quality of the links you'll get, and the more relevant the links will be to your subject matter and keywords. The problem with selecting a good category is that most article syndication networks have either a very long list box of categories or multiple category list boxes. This can make it very difficult to select a good category. If you have a list box with 400 categories in it, you can spend a long time just trying to find the category most relevant to your article. So make sure that you think about your category selection carefully, because picking the right category can have a massive impact on how many links you get back for each article submission. Also, make sure that you take the time to experiment with different categories. You might want to try both broader categories to get greater syndication and reach a wider number of sites, or more specific categories to get more targeted, higher quality links. For example, if you have a website about quilting, you might want to experiment with the quilting category, as well as the crafts category, or even the hobbies category, to see which brings you the best results. Another important submission tip is to make sure that your syndication strategy results in a natural, organic link building pattern. The worst thing you can do is to get all your links in a single day, or too short a time period. It looks extremely suspicious and can get your site quickly banned out of the search engines. Many article submission software packages on the market do exactly that. They submit your article to hundreds of directories in a few hours or less. This is extremely dangerous and to be avoided at all costs. The reason this is so dangerous is because it creates the same link building pattern used by many search engine spammers. Most people who are looking for quick wins with little work buy some hastily thrown together software, build a large burst of links in a short amount of time, and then stop their link building altogether. The search engines reward consistent quality over time. This short-term mentality doesn't look natural, and by penalizing this behavior, they can effectively weed out the short-term spammers out of the search engines. If you can build your links gradually and consistently over time, then you'll be rewarded. Often people write off a particular link building technique as not working, when the problem actually is that they did too much too soon, or simply didn't persevere with the strategy. The SEO professionals, as we've seen, keep building links even after they've reached number one, because that's what the search engines reward. So how do you build links gradually over time? Well, One way is to do all your submissions manually and gradually submit your articles to directories and blog networks one article at a time. You can keep a spreadsheet of all your articles and plan submission dates, or you can use a system like Google Calendar to remind you to space out your article submissions. In this way, you can get a lot of articles written up front, and then remind yourself to submit them gradually over time. A few of the article syndication networks allow you to schedule your submissions to go out on a particular date. This is the best option if it's available. Simply submit all your articles and then schedule them to go out gradually over a period of months. Okay, now here's another important tip about the submission process that we gleaned from the SEO pros. Most people only use one or two different link building techniques. For example, they might do all their link building using article directories, or only use blog networks, or only use social bookmarks. Once again, this looks suspicious and can get your site penalized or banned from the search engines. So you don't want all your links coming from the same type of website. Ideally, you want a wide variety of links from different sources, including article directories, and blogs, and social bookmarks, and social networking links. This is called link diversity. Now we come to the final step in the smart syndication process, which is tracking. The SEO professionals track everything. It's often said that feedback is the breakfast of champions, and SEO is no different. The SEO pros are constantly monitoring their rankings and increasing their focus on keywords that are working, and reducing their focus on keywords that are not working. In SEO, it pays to be laser focused rather than broad. It's better to focus on a few keywords that you are already starting to get rankings on, than spread your link building power across hundreds of different keywords. It's a lot easier to improve an existing ranking from position 7 to position 1 than to get a brand new page ranking for a brand new keyword. By focusing on a small number of keywords, you get to see faster results, and it's also the best bang for buck for your hard-earned money and time. However, while everybody talks about tracking, when it comes to article marketing, what should you track, since there are multiple links in each article with multiple keywords? The first thing that you need to track are the rankings of the pages on your site that you're trying to improve. While you're syndicating your article to thousands of sites on the internet, you're not worried about where those articles are ranking. You're only interested in tracking the rankings of the pages that your syndicated articles point back to. So the rule of thumb is, track any web page that your syndicated articles link to, and track these web pages for the anchor text used in the links from the syndicated articles. So a typical syndicated article will link to your homepage, a category page, and a blog post. So make sure that you track those 3 web pages. Use the anchor text that you use to link to your homepage as the keyword to track your homepage. Use the anchor text that you use to link your category page to track your category page. And use the anchor text that you use to link to your blog post to track your blog post. You should also check your site rankings in multiple search engines. While Google is the largest search engine, it can often be easier to rank in Yahoo and Bing, and it's important to understand where your rankings and traffic are coming from. The last thing that's important to track is your backlinks. You want to check the number of backlinks to any page linked to from your articles, as well as the total number of backlinks that have been built to your website. To do this, we recommend that you use a service such as Majestic SEO, and in particular, their Fresh Backlinks Index, to get an accurate idea of how many links you're building to your website. This will help you to see the results of your article marketing efforts. So that brings us to the end of the 5-step smart syndication process, which is used by the SEO pros to achieve top rankings in the search engines. So let's just quickly recap what we've covered. The first step was keyword research, and we saw that you should pick your battles carefully by reverse engineering the backlinks of the top ranked sites in Google before deciding which keywords to target. We also saw that it pays to focus on longer tail phrases first to get some quick wins on the board and build authority. As your authority grows, you can then start targeting more competitive keyword phrases. Step 2 was article creation, and we saw that an article is made up of a title, a body, and a resource box. We recommended that you do not use your keywords in the title of your syndication articles, as it creates unwanted competition for the content on your website. We also saw that your articles should be short, punchy, and high quality in order to maximize your syndication acceptance rates. And we discussed that your resource box should contain a link to your homepage and a link to a deep blog post using the keywords that you're targeting as their link anchor text. Step 3 was spinning, and we saw that when used correctly, spinning provides an effective way to generate thousands of unique versions of your articles for syndication purposes. We discussed how phrase level spinning works, and saw that there are now some intelligent spinning services available that use semantic algorithms rather than simple thesaurus replacements. Step 4 was article submission, and we saw that if you outsource your article creation, you really should check the uniqueness of your articles before submitting them for syndication. We discussed the importance of selecting the right category, coordinating a gradual distribution of your articles, and ensuring that you submit to different types of websites to obtain a high level of link diversity. And step 5 was tracking, and we discussed the importance of tracking the pages you're trying to promote in the search engines and the keywords you're using as anchor text in your syndicated articles. In addition to tracking your target pages and keywords, we recommended that you also track the backlinks to each of your target pages and your website as a whole. The smart syndication process is a powerful way to increase the strength of your backlink network and improve your ranks in the search engines.